Hi there! So, you might not be familiar with the story of it. Could be through the movies, the OG TV series, the book itself, and with the new upcoming streaming series coming up, claiming to be the origin story of the movie Pennywise. I've been thinking a lot about the real story of Pennywise. So, you want a short way of learning about this whole origin without reading a 1,500 page book like me? Then come on and stick to the end of the video.
Also, like and subscribe since I'm a small creator and I want to grow. Thank you.
So, what do the people that say the origin of Pennywises are weird and cosmic and all that? Well, let's go back in time a little bit. About around 20 billion years ago, when there was nothing but a creature beyond any comprehension. A being way beyond cosmic who then created two beings that would create a balance in the universe, representing pure good and pure evil. These beings were Mandarin the turtle and the deadlights, aka it, respectively. The turtle was kind and gentle and spent most of its time inside its shell. It/deadlights went around acquiring forms, powers, abilities, and more, and naturally was an enemy to Mandarin. It despised the turtle, believing it was dumb and wasting its potential and that it was lazy. And so, time passed, around 7 billion years, when Mandarin came out of its shell and threw up because it had a little bit of a stomachache. And this vomit became the universe as we know it. Meaning yes, everything you are touching right now, your chair, your bed, your phone, your clothes, it's all vomit. So yeah, then just regular universe stuff happened. The development of the universe, galaxies, solar systems, and so forth. During this time, the deadlights would explore this new universe and discover the taste of fear of the beings from this new universe. It fed on fear, and so these new creatures would be a feast for it, until we arrive on Earth, right before the Ice Age, where the deadlights came crashing onto the Earth, creating a massive crater and subsequently entering a deep sleep, hibernation if you will. This further boosted because the Ice Age was starting up, and this was a deep sleep, like one of those after school naps where you wake up all sweaty and shit, because it didn't awake until the year 1750, starting a 27-year cycle in which it would come out, feast, and then hibernate for these 27 years. And all around this settlement that was starting around its crashing site, called Derry. And in every cycle, it would learn more about these new and fragile creatures. Oh, and learn it did. It learned humans were one of the most complex creatures in the universe, capable of feeling fear, and thus, a new flavor, like the deadlights have never encountered before, and would adapt to cause fear among these humans. And maybe its most important moments from which is when it took a baby from a woman, in the form that caused more fear at that time. A red man, so just a regular man in red paint. That maybe would coincide with the fear of people of the devil, the whole Bible and the representation and wanting to be in line with it. But in this form, it took this woman's baby and threatened to kill her husband, her family, the entire village, and just make her see every all this. Or she could leave the baby with him and live happily ever after, a strategy he would later use with the Losers Club. And so the lady obliged. Terrified, left the baby with Pennywise. So, it successfully had seasoned the next generation of humans, and feasted on the baby. Yeah, that's something that happens. And like this, there are countless stories from the past. And from then until 1958, it had a new favorite form, as it learned the children were most tasteful and easy to scare. And so, he used the form to attract them in this time period, Pennywise, the dancing clown. And this was when it killed and ate little George Denbrough, starting a chain of events that would lead to his downfall. And how so? Well, this would make someone in the town actually care about these killings. You know, it's not normal for every 27 years for a town to have a child massacre, but the town of Derry is described as a curse. There are adults there that don't care about anything that's going on and turn a blind eye to every problem and every violent act that happens. And so, succumbing to the darkness, darkness delivered onto this town by Pennywise. But not for the brother of George Denbrough. Bill Denbrough, distraught by his brother's death, decided to investigate and reveal the true terror hunting this town. It. So him and his friend group spent this summer running from it, discovering more about it, and becoming stronger, united. But anyway, this connection scared it. It felt something that the kids in the Losers Group did not feel. They were protected by his brother, Maturin the turtle. So every time he tried to go after them, it just let the kids go. Like right here, it could have easily gone after Bill, but it doesn't, because the force brought upon these kids, and this frustrates it. So, the turtle helps these kids overcome their fears to face it in a battle of wills, making it feel scared for the very first time, and having his feast be cut short. And you would think about these kids: Bill, Ben, Beth, Nike, Richie, Eddie, Stanley, for 27 years. After defeating it, the kids made a promise that if it were to ever come back, they would do too. And sure enough, 27 years later, it came back. And Mike Hamlin, the only one of these kids to stay in Derry, called the rest back. And everyone came back having forgotten the events that went down. Except for Stanley Uris. He lived terrorized of these events from his childhood, and lived not so far away from Derry. You know, the further the losers went, the more they forgot, and remembering everything, decided to commit suicide rather to go back home and help the losers. So, everyone else came back, and Pennywise was way more confident this time around. Why is this? Well, because it just so happens that at the time that had passed, Maturin the turtle had died, and the losers wouldn't be protected by him anymore. And it thought, like this, they would be simply humans and simple to kill, while he roughly underestimated them. Because the thing that makes them special and make them feel fear in this special way also makes them feel hope, and to keep on going, which it thought was simple lack of knowledge and reasoning from their species, and so revealed its true form to them, the Deadlights, that the humans simply interpreted as a giant spider, as their brains could not comprehend the real form, and in this battle, it fought face to face with these humans. But they had gone through enough to feel no more fear towards Pennywise, leaving him powerless. And so, it decided to, you know what, screw it, and enter the same battle of will that went down 27 years ago, being once again defeated by the human spirit. And thus, his physical form was weakened, and retreated once again. But this time, the losers did not want to take any chances, and so, they followed him. They started to throw it into the ground and stomp on its body until the body opened, and so they all collectively grabbed out and ripped the heart from this creature and stomped it until the deadlight had turned off. It was finally dead. But during this, Ben had discovered a different entrance, one filled with eggs. It was a female, and it had laid eggs. He started to stomp on them. This is when he was thinking during this time. How many of these things are there? I've stomped like 100, but isn't a spider supposed to lay like 1,000? What if it's 1,000,000? He decided to stop thinking about that and just stomp until he could no more. By the end, a massive flood had hit the city, like a cleansing on the town's darkness after its death. The losers that had survived came out, but Ben kept on thinking if the eggs were really all crushed, but decided not to tell his friends about it because he didn't want to worry them. And so, they went on with their lives, eventually forgetting all about it in the town of Derry, even faster than when they were kids, and just living their normal and happy lives. But did Pennywise really die? This is kind of like a Bill Cipher situation, where it's left to the reader's interpretation. Or is it? Because you see, Stephen King is an author of this novel and many others, and it's known to have connections in between his novels, in kind of like a Marvel-ish way, like Maturin appearing in another novel called The Dark Tower. Richie and Beverly appear in the novel 221163, which is a story about time travel. And also, the town of Derry appears in a lot of Stephen King's works. And in one of these works, there's a memorial of all the kids that were lost by Pennywise, and a message from the losers. But this message is graffitied over by a mark that says, Pennywise lives. And no one else knew about Pennywise, so did one of these eggs get out and got missed and hatch? Well, that's a story for another day. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video. I sincerely appreciate it. and let me know if you prefer longer content or should I stick to shorter videos. But anyway, make sure to like, subscribe, or comment, whichever you please. And so, until the next time our devices connect, I'll see you then.